Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 386, Exploration Games.
Welcome, citizens of Meeple Nation. For the next 30 minutes, sit back and enjoy.
Meeple Nation Podcast is sponsored by GameToppersLLC.com. If you joined us at SaltCon, you had a great opportunity to see the goodness of which we speak when we talk about our Game Toppers, when we talk about the Mycroft, the Watson. There are several others, but the Mycroft happens to be the big daddy that Andy has. Go check them out on GameToppersLLC.com. Look to see all of the awesome stuff that they have. You can see that which you have seen, but there is more. There are more sizes of table toppers to choose from. There are more mats. There are more accessories. They have a lot of awesome stuff that will enhance your game night. So go check them out. GameToppersLLC.com.
We are your hosts of Meeple Nation. I am Logan Howard.
I'm Andy Holiday.
I'm Nathan Howard.
And I'm Dave Holiday.
Check out our website. It's amazing. We have blogs. We have thoughts.
This week we are discussing games that provide some sort or some form of exploration. And I think there's quite a few games that fall into this. There's a lot, actually, that we typically enjoy playing. Dungeon crawlers would fall under this category. That's one of my faves.
So an episode that we're going to talk about Gloomhaven? What are the chances?
A lot of what campaign games have is they have some sort of exploration, and we're a sucker for campaign or legacy.
Absolutely. Any game that has that exploration, that level of discovery, just shines. For us specifically, and I'm sure we're not the only ones out there.
We were just playing Lord of the Rings Journey Through Middle-earth the other night, and we played the first scenario with our friend Doug, and it kicked our trash. And so then we decided to play the first scenario again just to start the campaign over, since we only did the first mission to add Dave in. It changed the map. As you explore, that's amazing, right? Because as you go back and replay these games, it adds that variety, which makes these games replayable in just general.
Talking about Journeys in Middle-earth in particular, that's a game that, depending on whether you win or you lose a scenario, affects how the next scenario is going to play out and how that story is going to evolve. You know, you didn't necessarily have to start over. You're adding another player, so that may make a little bit of a difference. If I recall, though, you can add people pretty easily.
It was our first time playing, because I played it first time with you years ago. It was just easier. It already kicked our trash. Start over. We actually knew how to play. It just made sense just to start from the beginning again.
So I played that solo last year for my 10 for 10. Logan played with my brother Chris, and you and I. And the experience that I had solo was much different. The scenario came together a little bit different. For the most part, the story was still there, but how I got to the destination ended up being a little bit different. And some of those quests that I was able to interact with and try to complete were a little bit different. They've done a really good job with that development that's in that choose your adventure style, where you make this choice or that story changes and the game changes. Journeys in Middle-earth did a really good job. Fantasy Flight nailed it with that one.
Like Logan said, we've done the first scenario twice. The second time through was not near as brutal. I was playing around with the difficulty the first time through. I honestly think we put it on hard. Even though I went back and it said it was on normal, it sure didn't seem like it, because the number of monsters and creatures that were getting spawned, it was unreal.
And the difficulty and the extra stats.
Yeah, we had a ton of elites that were getting put out. It was insane. The second time we played, it was far more manageable. By the end, there were a lot of monsters out. It wasn't anywhere compared to what we had in that first game.
So also we're starting over, so that way we could actually play on real normal.
Yeah.
Talking about these other Explore games, a lot of people love escape rooms. And hopefully when we're going to BGG Con, the 4 of us, 5 of us, however many end up being there with us, we'll have the opportunity to go do a couple escape rooms. There's several games out there that try to embrace that escape room feel. So you have games like Unlock, Deckscape, the Exit series, and the new Echoes series should be out pretty soon. All fit into that same genre of game.
My big issues that I have with escape rooms, which they fix mostly when you play in the board game version instead of the real life version, is that you scramble around the room looking for clues, and then as you find clues, you're like, oh, this isn't nothing, or, oh, wait, this is a clue, but we don't have anything to go with it, so that you move on trying to find those clues. somebody else finds the clues and then just spearheads and solves your mystery that you were working on trying to find the clues. For the most part, that doesn't happen in the board game versions. We're all right there. Years ago, Nathan, we did one with Dennis.
Oh, you're talking an escape room.
Yeah, the escape room. There was patch panels with these cords going from location to location. It's very IT type stuff. It was a small room. There was too many people for the escape room. Dennis was sitting there doing that, but then there was no room to get in and do another mystery because it was all right there. These games, there's a little bit of that. I have the cards, we're doing this. Oh, I saw it. You turn it this way. There's a little bit of that, but for the most part, hey, everybody look at it. Can anybody see it from a different angle? I like that aspect.
There's definitely more of a red herring that you're going to find in a physical escape room. Although, you look at Time Stories, which have any of you guys played Time Stories?
I have not.
So Time Stories, you're in the future and you're jumping back into, you're putting your consciousness into individuals who were in the past, and you're trying to resolve a story or reset something that somebody else has come back to manipulate. The first one that we played, the one that comes in the base game, we're jumping back and you're in this insane asylum. And there was definitely some red herrings in there. I could probably play through that again and not remember most of that. It's been 3, maybe 4 years since that came out. There's some of those things that were wrong, like the red herring that we chased, and we chased multiple times till we got it completed. It was just the most off-the-wall insane thing because, we're in an insane asylum, and sure enough, this individual that we kept jumping into, we felt like he had an important key to the story. It was all just a big waste of time. We spent several jumps trying to resolve that. In most of the games, you look at like Unlock, you look at Deckscape, very few of those red herrings. Most of the focus is on the initial puzzles that are in the game. The Unlocks have done all of them have done some amazing uses of the materials that are in the box.
Oh, yeah. Some of them have been very impressive.
One that we played recently that I'm really impressed with is Etherfields. As you explore the dream, it's kind of like that. It has the exploration, add new cards in it, augments where you place the card on it. The artist in that game needs to get raised because it is amazing. To be able to change the field of the entire board, like flipping this card over and adding it in a weird angle, it was amazing.
That was a nice touch, that it wasn't just putting the cards side by side. They're not orthogonally placed. You're going to overlay those cards. You're going to put it, like you said, at an angle so that it creates the room differently than it was if you were just placing those cards in a grid.
Yeah, it's nice. Some of you guys.
I was going to say it helps Dave's anxiety as well.
Yeah, Dave had issues with that. He didn't put it straight. I do remember that now.
It's a little, it's cool as long as you're not looking at it.
I thought it was all part of your therapy, so it was fine.
So as long as you didn't deal with any OCD issues, it was pretty good. Except for we determined that's not an OCD issue, right? That was an anxiety issue.
Yeah.
My very first game that I played that had an exploration aspect to it, it was also the first dungeon crawler that I know of anyway, and that's Hero Quest. And Hero Quest, the republication of it is going to be out this fall. And I just found out that they're going to have a co-op version of this where there's going to be a companion app that will play Zargon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be one versus many if you want to do a co-op adventure, so I'm kind of excited about that.
I like that. As long as they do it well. We've talked in the past, Star Wars Imperial Assault. It has the companion app, several scenarios that you can play with that. We still need to finish our last game of that for our campaign, right? We hit 10 games, so we stopped playing it.
What?
Not my choice.
That never happens.
Actually, we had to do homework for the podcast that we stopped playing it.
Well, and then
same thing with Gloomhaven.
And then we've had extra people coming to game night, too. So,
yeah, losers. Having more friends show up at game night, ruining everything.
Listen to us complain. But no, that's great. We're very happy to have more people here. Wouldn't have it any other way. That does make us adjust things a little bit. So on homework night, we're going to have to finish Star Wars at some point. And
I've actually enjoyed it because we've been able to get some games with lower player counts to the table because of it.
Yeah, it is nice to be able to use both tables to get people playing. Plus, Corey brings treats, so it's always...
It's true.
And I'm not sure if Corey's just trying to fatten us up or if he just loves us that much.
Bribery always works.
Indeed it does. Recently, Dave, you and I have been playing a ton of The Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Right, online. And I think they did a really good job with it online, too, on Board Game Arena. I had been wanting to play for a while, and we almost got to play it at Meeple. I had read through the rules and then watched a couple of videos, and we played it here in person, and it was really cool. I really liked it quite a bit. Yeah, like you said, we've been playing it a lot online. This is a game where the exploration is a little different than some of these others that we've talked about. It's somewhat of a worker placement game. Some of the places where you go is to dig sites, and you excavate, uncover different idols, and they're protected by guardians. It's pretty simple. You just choose one of the spots, pay the required resources to go there, and you flip over a tile. And it's not creating a map like some of these others. It's a dig site, and you flip over the guardian that's protecting that tile, and you flip over the idol and the rewards you collect for discovering that. Very different the way that it's implemented, but this game has a lot of other things going on as well. And so this exploration is just one piece of many things happening. I've really enjoyed the game, and I'm glad that we finally made the dive and started playing it.
I mean, you are exploring. You're exploring those sites. Those sites are different. The resources that you're going to get at those sites, and the guardians, you said it exactly. You have the track on the right side of the board that you're racing up that. Resource management. So many little components that go into that. That, yes, it is an exploration game. The exploration is a huge part of the game, but it's not the only part of the game.
Right. Now, in our plays, I've tried several different strategies. The research track, like you talked about, I always feel like I have to go up there. In fact, I feel like that's maybe more necessary than going and exploring, but not much.
We'll see. Most recent game that we're playing, you haven't really explored much of anything. You haven't explored anything, right?
I think I have one. I did explore one idol, if I remember right.
I think I have 6 idols that I've explored. I've only barely touched going up the progression track. I'm interested to see how this score ends out. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. It's a 4X game where one of the X's is exploration. The map is out there.
Is that a real thing, 4X?
Yeah,
Yes.
So it's explore, exterminate, expand.
So I can put that into Google and it's safe.
4X games, yes.
Do I put 4X's or just 4X?
You might want to do the number
4.
4.
Okay, let's try that.
4X's are explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. You achieve one of those conditions, you win the game. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, you have the boards out there, the maps out there, but what you're exploring is each site that you go to, each hex that you go to is going to have a different resource or an encounter that you're going to uncover as you explore from site to site. Now, Dave, this is a game that I know you really wanted to like. I really enjoy the game. It doesn't hit the table very often, which is odd because it is a 6-player game. Lately, we've been trying to figure out what to play with 6 players.
We'd have more options if people left rules inside the games.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here, Logan. And those rules are somewhere that made sense.
Somewhere safe.
The internet?
That's where they are now. At some point, I might recover the physical copy of those rules.
When you finally go back to the office?
Maybe.
You nailed it. This is one of those games that I was so excited for. Because it does meet a lot of the things that I'm looking for in a game. I love exploration. I love all of the visual stuff going on in the game. And this one has a lot of cool components and a lot of 3D pieces. Everybody's got a boat or something boat-esque.
You either have a sky boat or a
turtle,
physical or water boat.
Right. So each different race has a different way of carrying their minis around the board. I only got to play it the one time, but I really want to play it again. For whatever reason, I have a hard time getting into the games where you have the confrontation. This game definitely has a piece where you are going to be fighting each other and eliminating people.
Yep,
and
that's one of the X's.
That's the part that I struggle with. Everything else, I was really, really hoping that I would love it so much that I could handle that part. I'm not sure it did.
Exploration is part of it, yeah, but confrontation is a bigger part of Hero Land Air Sea than the other aspects. If you just stick to exploring, someone is going to attack you. And then once somebody starts attacking you, you either attack them back or you get eliminated, and that's it, right?
To an extent, yeah.
I've only played it 1 or 2 times, but I want to say that that's it. Either you make a show of it and then you have to decide to attack a weaker player, or you have to be attacked and try to fight off the stronger player. Because no one's going to try to attack you because they think you're in a stronger position than they are.
In this game, there's just certain ways of scoring points. You can only explore and score so many points by exploration. And so you're almost forced to initiate some struggle.
Yeah, you can try the expand, and you can try the exploit as well. But as you expand into somebody else's territory, yes, you're going to get that retaliation for sure. I really like the game. The game is beautiful. You have the flying ships that are on their stands. Some of the people have boats or turtles, alligators, griffins for their flying ship. The miniatures are really cool, but all the boats are cardboard. It all comes together. It looks really nice. I think the game's great. I wish we would get it to the table more often. But there's a lot of games that I wish we'd get to the table more often. Very true.
It's okay. We're going to rise up, play a different game. We've organized a rebellion. We're going to play Descent.
It's on my 10 for 10. You're not rising up against anything.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
It's just you're feeding the machine already. So if it makes you feel better. Deep Sea Adventures is a great exploration game that's very, very simple. It's one of the Oink games. They come in those small little boxes. Deep Sea Adventures, everybody's sharing a sub, and we're all sharing oxygen. And as you dive into the water, and you can go as deep as you want, but as soon as you pick up a treasure and start to go back to the surface, that's when you start to deplete everybody's air. If you run out of air while you're underwater, then you drop all your treasures, go back to the submarine. So you have to balance that game. It's a press your luck and exploration, so you're going down there to see what treasure you can get and come back with in that same amount of time.
When you were describing that just now, I haven't played it, but it reminded me of Deep Blue. Also simple, but it's kind of a deck builder as well as a press your luck.
And exploration.
Everybody has these boats, and as you move your boat further, you get to explore new tiles and new areas, and as you're in those areas, then you can decide, I'm going to make a dive here. Same kind of a thing. The press your luck is you're flipping things over, essentially what things you're finding. Card that show you what things you find in your dive. And you have to decide when to stop, because same kind of idea. If you run out of oxygen, you lose everything and come back to the surface. And you get points based on the things that you find down there. Some of the cards will alter the number of points that you get for each different type of item. Very simple. I thought it was really cool. That was one of those games that I've been meaning to borrow and take home and see if I can get my wife to play.
Totally forgotten about Deep Blue. It is a very simple game that has a complexity and enough challenge in it. It is different. You have that deck building and you have the pressure luck with what am I going to draw out of the bag. Deep Blue is a great, inexpensive game.
I had fun playing that. That was a good game. I thought they did a great job with the deck building aspect of it, too.
Am I thinking of the same game with Deep Blue where it's underneath the ocean, you have the...
That's Underwater Cities.
Okay, there we go.
Also a good game.
Don't you love how your explanation, I knew exactly what you were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good.
It's like we're connected.
It's almost like we're related.
Spoilers.
They are.
We've talked several times on the podcast about Hexplorit, Valley of the Dead King, but this is another area that this one touches.
So that's one of the games that I think it has an exploration aspect to it, but it's such a light part of it.
Yeah, last time we played, I don't think we explored once.
Because the map, it gets exposed. Only every once in a while does it benefit you to go and explore past the set map.
You're absolutely right. It does have an exploration level to it, but it's not something that is always included in every game. Depending on if the quests come up, all the quests are off on a different tile. It might be advantageous for the group to try to find those tiles. Or if the group is trying to run away from the Dead King, that is an option, but the Dead King's going to catch up with you anyways. So.
I was going to say that that's not really an option except for the quests, because the Dead King gets the built-in AI. It will find you.
But if you have the opportunity to fulfill a quest that will give you more experience or more...
Get you more prepared to take it on.
Then it becomes worthwhile for the group to do.
So we actually did an episode on Forgotten Waters not too long back. I love this game. It is such a good game. What actually drew me to this game first was
Pirates.
The pirate theme. The second thing was player count, because you can have up to 7 players. I didn't really know what a Crossroads game was at the time. I'd never played one. But it's a story, narrative-driven game. You're on a ship. Depending on what scenario you're playing, you have a mission to complete. You need to explore the ocean in order to fulfill your mission. Exploration aspect of this game, you will move into a hex on the ocean board the map board that you're playing on. Potentially randomly draw a tile. There are ways to place tiles out there face up so you can see what you're going into. If you go into an empty hex, you draw a random tile. And then that will have a number on it. There's a companion app for this. Everything is all integrated with the app.
It is one of the better companion apps.
It really
out there.
is.
I
It
almost
really
want
is.
to say one of the best. I love it.
The level of voice acting in it, how it interacts with the game, it is amazing.
When you explore, you will put that tile down, or if you land on the tile that's already revealed, where it'll have a 3-digit number that you'll type in your app. And then the app will further the story. Typically, it's going to be a random location, and it's going to tell you where you are now. So you're going to open your book up to that location. Let's say you go to an island, you'll open it up to the Pirate Island part of the book, and then on that island, it's going to have all your locations that you're going to be able to place your pirates on for your actions. I just think it's awesome because one island in one of the scenarios leads you one place, and then that same island in a different scenario is going to take you somewhere else due to the app. Absolutely amazing game. I will always say yes to playing this game. It is great.
You talk about going to the Pirate Island or whatever the island is. You can go to that island multiple times, and each time you go to that island, it's going to be a different experience.
And each time you go search in the ocean, you might find a Kraken.
That's true. That one game we played, it was like every time we found the Kraken, another Kraken.
I think we fought 2 Krakens in a row, and then we fought the Megalodon right after that. But just the exploration part of it adds an exciting, what are we going to run into this time? Because you can see typically the destinations that you have to go to further your quest are already revealed at the very beginning of the game. You kind of know where you have to go. But to get there, you're going to have these random tiles pop in and have random encounters of islands. It could be sea monsters. It could just be open ocean, and you still have actions that you have to perform on the open ocean. There's a lot of stuff going on, which it's just a great game overall.
Each pirate in this game has skills.
Special skills?
Nope, none of them are special. Just skills. And they all have the same skills, but each role, each pirate is able to develop some better than others. Navigation is one of those skills, and you have a pirate that has good navigation, and it will end up helping your exploration out a little bit, too. I thought that was kind of cool, too. It's not just a straight-up flip over a tile. In some cases, you're going to be able to flip over multiple tiles and move the boat further, possibly skip over some of those tiles.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave. The exploration action, which you typically are going to have, because that's how you move your boat. The better you are at it, or the higher you roll, right, is the better that action is going to be. Be able to explore more tiles or move the ship further, depending on how good your exploration skill is. And like you said, some pirates, you'll max out at certain points, and each pirate, like you said, is a little bit different. You can have a pirate that is absolutely terrible at exploration. They will never be good at it because you can max out super
only
quickly.
Ever put 2 points into it.
Correct. So you probably never want that pirate to explore. Pirate typically is going to want to bump up their exploration to get it maxed out so you can get your stars, so you can fill in your star chart, because essentially that's how you win. But when push comes to shove and you need someone that's good at exploration, yeah, you probably don't want that pirate doing that.
I've actually been forced to do that a couple times. It wasn't exactly exploration. I can't remember what skill it was, but one of those types of skills. It's how you choose your place on the book. Somebody has to go on certain skill checks.
Yeah, the set sail action, which is the one that you have to do your exploration and move the boat, is red.
Navigation.
It's navigation. Yeah,
I can't remember if it was that one. It was one of those type of ones where I was at the bottom of the choice like multiple times, and so everybody else was off doing cool things. And I think I had like 2 or 3 spots in the skill. It all got maxed out, so I was just wasting time, and I was like, stupid game.
Yeah, that is one of the funny things.
Sounds like me.
Whoever is the most notorious pirate at that time, that determines the initiative orders. It goes from notoriety down to whoever has the least amount of notoriety, and that shifts all game long. But you can get stuck, if you're the pirate with the least amount of notoriety, you can get stuck feeding the crew time and time again.
You don't have the opportunity to increase your notoriety doing those skills. So you have to depend on other people doing skills to bump them down.
Yep.
You can increase your notoriety. You just deplete all of our food when you do.
It's true.
Well, somebody has to do that when they do that.
So there's a lot more than just exploration in that game, but it is great. I absolutely love playing it.
Talking about Forgotten Waters, Journeys in Middle-earth, Mansions of Madness. Types of games that are so amazing with exploration with the app that goes with it. Descent.
Yep. Honestly, I mean, we can't talk about exploration games without talking about Betrayal at House on the Hill or Escape, because there's so much of the tile flipping that goes on in those games. You're exploring a mansion, exploring the ruins. We've talked about those games a decent amount, but those are so exploration heavy.
That is the bulk of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Magic Maze. That's it.
Magic Maze is a good one. Magic Maze and Escape. Very fast-paced exploration games.
One's more
Very
frustrating.
accessible. Yeah, one's more frustrating for sure. Well, they can both be frustrating.
At least
You're
in
talking-
one, you can tell the other people how frustrating it is.
Yeah, as you slam that aggression pawn down. It's not an information pawn, it's an aggression pawn. You're talking Magic Maze, and Magic Maze I still think is fun, but yeah, you have that aggression pawn that you slam down in front of somebody that's supposed to tell them they have something to do. And man, if somebody would slam that in front of me, I'd like, oh yeah, take it right back to you. I'm not looking at yours.
He does it just on pure principle, too, because it's like, I played it with him like, Nathan. And then he's like, "Urgh!" And I'm like, no, Nathan. Yeah, it doesn't work out. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that I haven't had a chance to play, like Star Trek Ascendancy. I haven't played Seafall. I know we're looking at starting it. It might just have to be on your 10 for 10 for next year. I want to add Mansions of Madness onto your 10 for 10 for next year.
I would like that too.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Gloomhaven. We mentioned it, but
Frosthaven, it's coming out.
We didn't talk about Frosthaven. Andy didn't talk about starting Jaws of the Lion.
I did start Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion with my wife. It's going well. She's enjoying it. I wasn't sure if she would. She typically doesn't like the fantasy theme games very much, but she's actually having fun with it. It's definitely more of a Gloomhaven light, not super light. You know what you're getting into. Everything's on the board, so you already know what monsters are going to be in the room as soon as you open the door. It's been fun.
I'm very jealous of you. I think this would be a great game to get my wife to play. I don't know if I could get her, I don't want to say suckered into that, but drawn into that. We went through Pandemic Legacy Season 1, Season 2, and Season 0, doing something like the Jaws of the Lion. That whole story exploration, that might be one worth trying.
The nice thing about it, too, is you're not necessarily retiring characters. You have the 4 characters. That's what comes with the game. I mean, the leveling up is the same, and you're still playing cards the same way as you are in Gloomhaven. First few missions are step-by-step, kind of add a little bit more content each time. New players can get a grasp on exactly how the game works. Now, if you are familiar with Gloomhaven, then in fact, you could probably even just add in the stuff that it's adding in from the get-go and just play it how it's meant to be. For new players, and the way my wife learns, in the blog I wrote about teaching games, she is very much a hands-on learner. For it to be step-by-step made, I think, the world of difference on her enjoying this game. I think they did a really good job how they did that so that they can get people that aren't necessarily gamers to be able to play the game, whether it be kids or non-gamers. It made it far more accessible for her.
All right, if you think there are any games that on your list that we haven't explored tonight, please let us know. We know there are a lot more great games that we enjoy, but unfortunately we are out of time.
Until next time.
We'll see you exploring the game table and finding another great adventure for your game night.
As always, we want to thank you for listening.
Check out our website. We have all sorts of cool things there. Love those blogs. Get a deeper look into the writing side of Meeple Nation.
Join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. I look forward to seeing you there.
Follow us on Twitter, @MeepleNation. We also have Instagram.
Under the same name. We also want to thank our sponsor, GameToppersLLC.com.
We love their product, and there's so much goodness out there.
And we also want to thank Brain Detergent for our music.
drawn into that. We went through the Pandemic Legacy Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3. No, we went through Pandemic Legacy. Me and my wife, we went through Pandemic Legacy Season 1, Season 2, and Season 0.
Keeping with the theme, are there any games we haven't explored that you think we should? You're so lame.
I am lame.
You get so mad at the end of every episode when nobody does what you have in your head.